Here we
No.
go. We are live. It is Friday. We've got a rate cut, and what comes next? That is a question on everybody's mind. I thought it was a bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. But I don't know. What were your guys' takes on the FOMC?
Just what's happening? Nothing's happening.
Everything is happening. Well, I mean, we finally got over the event, and what I noticed is we were de-risking pretty heavily into it. And so obviously the day of the event, markets come back to life a little bit. And then now we're kind of in this stage of like, okay, do we want to keep going or is this really it? Powell obviously came out, had a speech, indicated that there may be possibly 2 more cuts. So obviously that's kind of a dovish thing. I think the market liked that. But essentially his tone was like slightly dovish, but somewhat guarded just because we're still data dependent. Inflation's still a concern. And there wasn't a 50 bit cuts. But, he did say that there were going to be maybe 2 more. So I think the market does like that outlook. So,
Yeah, I thought overall, I mean, kind of like I said, a bit of a nothing burger. Everybody was already expecting the 25 basis point cut. So the market didn't really, like you said, it already front run the 25 point basis cut. His speech was pretty lackluster I haven't watched the whole thing. I've read some reviews, seen some clips, that kind of stuff. But from what I've heard, didn't really say anything in either direction very strongly. One of those, yeah, probably, maybe, kind of, sort of, we'll get 2 more cuts this year. So, I think because there wasn't anything too new, did not seeing a lot of reaction in the markets at the moment. So a lot of people kind of still debating, do we get that, that scenario with the dump in October, or are we just going to start pumping and have a crazy bullish Q4?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I'm definitely still leaning towards my seasonality chart. So I am very cautiously long here. I mean, there's nothing really big fundamentally. I mean, today is like a quadruple witching, so obviously it's going to be a bit of volatility to either side of the market here. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing is the market just kind of getting stale here. But when I look at the charts, like for the most part, we're up. So this was like day of, and then this is pretty much the aftermath of the FOMC. So we're still technically in an uptrend. On the equities, things are still uppy here. I don't see any signs of double top yet. Once we start getting those M's in structure, then we can start being like, considering like, okay, maybe the market is kind of slowing down, but we still have like, bit of a gap here. There's a gap that's left behind. We do have this like EMA as support way below. So we still have like some time before we can start considering this really being broken down. So for now, still uptrend. No real setup really for me. Obviously the best setup was kind of like at that consolidation where we talk about these, double bottoms, right?
We are building a neckline, no?
We're not building anything here just yet. This is just like, So, if anything, like I'm more concerned if this starts going like that, where we start building like, the M's. So, if I go to like a line chart, it might be a little bit easier to see. So it's just like, we don't know yet what this is going to shape. But if we get something more like this, then obviously, we can consider another stab up higher. But if we start printing, double tops, nice little M shapes, then that's when I would start to get a little concerned. So we'll see how Friday or tonight opens up tonight. It is, again, like I said, quadruple witching. So generally there's always a bit of a firework on these type of days. And
Well, the quad witching can produce typically like, well, it's bullish out the end of that, is it not?
it can go either direction. It's like essentially you gotta look at like the options, and then just see where a lot of the asks and bids are, and then you usually can see the floor based on like where the most open interests are. And essentially, what Wall Street always wants to do is pretty much liquidate as many options as possible. So you kind of look at like where the floor is by finding where the most open interest is, and then you can kind of like guess in a way of like, okay, well, they're probably going to want to take prices up to here to liquidate this, and then they'll make like billions of dollars tonight. So yeah, something like that. But yeah, I don't really do the option stuff too much these days. So yeah, mostly just watching the markets, watching the charts here, but nothing really too exciting in my opinion.
Market is only going up.
Yeah, I mean, to some people, they think the market just goes up, but
But at least we had the FOMC meeting now. Fed cut the rates. So
yeah.
what are we waiting for anymore? what's the
I mean, we're gonna wait for more data prints again. Wait for the next CPI. Wait for the PPI. Wait for the PCE, job numbers, et cetera, et cetera. We just like rinse and repeat every month the same shit, and then for the next rate cut, essentially. So outside of that, I mean, there's really nothing else. Like, FOMC was the big event, so now that it's over, this entire rally was like for front running the rate cut. So now we have to see like how does the market want to take it from here? Because technically, they'd hinted 2 more rate cuts, perhaps. So the market wants to keep front running that for the next cycle. But
Well, I think the interesting part was here this week was basically CC and BNB crossing $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had a setup on BNB,
and also like if anyone noticed, ZC took away X Binance. He's now back in the game. We have the the big shot is back in the game. I think in the trenches and trying to get his crew in line. But yeah, like I'm very curious how like BSC is gonna perform, and what's that? How is his stack gonna be against Hyper Liquid?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I never really play on like the BNB ecosystem, so. Nice little harmonic setup on BNB there. But yeah, I mean, we can look at Bitcoin ETH. So not too much developed here. So the one thing I did notice is we did tag the 61.8, and then instantly got pretty much rejected. So, we did talk about this last week. I was like, well, once we're in this red box area, it's when you want to start considering shorts. Just like how once we were in the green box here, we wanted to consider longs, right? So now we're in the opposite end, and we're trying to see, okay, well, does this one actually break down? I do notice that the MACD is sloping down here while we are making higher highs. So generally, that kind of starts forming bearish divergences. We're getting closer and closer to overbought condition. So, ideally, if we get one more stab up into this area and then form some kind of like structure, like a double top, maybe that would also help confirm this bearish div that's trying to slowly build up and get us into that overbought condition finally. And then we would have pretty much everything for a setup for probably the short side of things, right? So that's kind of what I'm waiting and looking for. I still think we're a little bit early, but if we go on like lower time frames, then maybe we can kind of see, maybe we can get these structural kind of setups. Like that's a double top technically right there. I believe this high is lower than this high. What is that? 117.9. Yeah. So technically on the 4-hour we're already kind of breaking down slightly here, but we are on that moving average support. So if we can hold, consolidate, then maybe we get one more stab up higher. If we fail to hold this moving average, then probably have to come back down a bit lower, and then play out this little structure. But I generally like to use the daily time frame for my kind of analysis. So still really just waiting to see better structure. Right now, this is we don't really have much to work off of here. But I do feel like we are getting closer and feeling a bit more heavier for the bull side of things here. And yeah, ideally, like I said, one more stab up, get that bearish divergence, get that overbought condition. And then if we're really lucky, we get a nice like clean double top. And then that would kind of give us an easy kind of short setup. So that's what I'm thinking. We got what? Like a week or less than like 2 weeks here then before October rolls in, which is where we do expect to see things to kind of slow down a bit. And then also we got two really big like crypto conferences coming up, next week and then the week after. Usually these conferences, like the market kind of gets a bit soft too. So
the curse of token.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see, right? I do feel like I want to look for more short side of things, but if things do start blasting off, like giving a nice 10% candle or something, then I can revise. But for now, just eyeing that kind of short area. So kind of like same thing in the ETH, like we came into that short zone, got blasted down. We talked about these moving averages as like support. So it was nice to see that it held during that FOMC, nice bounce. And now we've just been kind of selling off again here. Sell the news kind of event, it seems like. Until we lose these lows, we're kind of okay. But as you can see, we are potentially putting in another double top here. Not the most bullish pattern. Momentum wise looks okay, and there's no like screaming bear divs or anything like that just yet. And like we have tons of room before we're in the overbought condition there as well. So mostly just like price action here. We're kind of stuck in this range, as you can see. Upper range, bottom of the range, and so we're just gyrating right now. But I would be concerned if we do lose these lows here. That's when I would start thinking, okay, maybe this trend is kind of coming to an end here. If we're lucky, this will slowly turn back into a W if we come back up. And then, if we get that, then I'd be a lot more bullish. But at the moment, it's not looking so pretty. So mostly just, waiting to see structure again at this point, whether it's to the downside or to the upside. Bitcoin obviously looks a bit better in my opinion, but I don't know. Overall, I do feel more to the side of looking for shorts possibly.
What do you think of so what do you think of BNB at the moment? Like
I wouldn't touch it.
Why-
I've already
so why am I focusing? Yeah, I know. So why am I focusing so much on BNB? Is because over the months, Hyperliquid has taken a lot of Binance positions. And they have taken a big chunk of the centralized exchanges volume and perp volume. And I think Hype was not listed on Binance at all, if I'm correct. At least on perps.
No.
I don't think they are in perps. I'm not sure.
Not on
But now, during this week, at least in the during the week Aster. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Aster, but Aster is basically a Hyperliquid competitor in BNB chain. I can send you the CMC. 1 sec.
It's the battle of the perp dexes. That's literally what the cycle has become now. It's like,
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
about which perp dex is the best and which
you can't blame them. I mean, a team of
I think,
11.
I truly think this is gonna be a competitor, like real competitor to Hyperliquid. Like, first of all, there's some things that has been happening. CZ has opened, like he has been publicly trading Aster with his own wallets. He's been endorsing Aster also. And remember, like everything that ZC touches and goes really hard into. I mean, I think this is his defense. I think he is making a move now. I think Aster will be, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. He's been out of the game slightly, you know, after going to jail for 4 months, and it's probably jaded as fuck.
But yeah, very interesting to see like what will happen with Aster against Hype. At the moment, Aster is at 5 billion FDV, and Hype, I think, what is Hype at the moment?
15.4 billion, I think.
Yeah, no, 56 billion. 56 billion FDV. So,
oh, FDV. Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think I do think there is a risk reward here to take. I think there would be a good bet to take a small position. Obviously, this is not the financial advice, but knowing CZ, whatever he touches, and especially with the BNB chain now being 1K, he is going after Solana. He wants to compete. He wants to get back in the game, and I think Aster will be going after Hype. But yeah, that's my speculation.
Dude, that's crazy though. It's only 1.7 mil liquidity for like 5 billion. That's crazy.
Yeah, it seems a little low.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I definitely agree. Like, it's probably a good bet. I mean, you're betting on CZ. Everybody knows CZ is kind of like the king of pumps. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you see any setups, you can go nuts. You know, probably have to go in the lower time frame for this one just because it's quite fresh. But you can see it's trying to put in W's here. You know, you could try to play this dame. You could try to play that W, but it's pretty big. Actually, a pretty small risk window. It's not too bad, actually.
But yeah, let's see. Like, I think the BNB chain will come back alive again, and we will see a little bit of BNB farming.
Yeah, like, it could be great for pre-sales too.
Yeah, like if you take back 3-6 months, we haven't heard anything about BNB for a while, right?
A long time.
Yeah. So maybe it's coming back. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, BNB's silently pumped, which is quite interesting. Like nobody was like paying attention to that at all. I was like, whoa.
I think we're going to see a little bit of a retro L1 battle here through the rest of the cycle. AVAX is getting a lot of hype right now that they're going to start pumping money into their ecosystem. Obviously, Coinbase, we talked about on Tuesday, talking potentially to launch their own token. I would imagine Base tokens, we see a lot of running, a lot of projects running on Base. And BNB as well, if CZ stepping back in the game and going to get after it. So we could definitely see some fireworks on some of these Dino chains throughout the rest of the year here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for fireworks on Dino chains.
It seems like there's a battle for all these perp dexes right now.
Yeah. Well, there's all kinds of perp dexes launching left and right. When you've got the industry leader Hyperliquid with only 11 people making, coming up on like $1.5 billion in revenue in a single year, it's understandable if people want to get a little piece of that action.
No, I think this is a defensive move by ZZ, and we will see more like this. But yeah, interesting to see what will happen.
Same thing for Base. Like people have criticized, like, well, why, doesn't make sense if Base Network starts, pushing people to their network and to trade on dexes, whether it's going to hurt Coinbase. It's like, well, Coinbase is already, getting hurt by dexes anyways. This is an opportunity for them to take some of that market share back, on their chain. And the same thing with Binance, BNB, while, technically, yeah, the dexes on there, PancakeSwap, et cetera, compete with Binance. If they're not pushing people to there, they're completely missing out on all that potential revenue. So, yeah, I think it's one of those, like you said, defensive moves, where maybe it, indirectly it's benefiting Binance.
Andrew is
sorry, I was looking at some trades here. I had to close some stuff. I had to close some shit. Sorry. Shit. Where was I? Are we looking at altcoins now? Yeah. I mean, looking at these like indexes. I was looking at this total crypto market cap. So this is with Bitcoin and ETH. So I just want to see the whole ecosystem of crypto. We're quite heavy. Like, every time we're in these short reload zones, right? It's generally where resistance and things kind of start slowing down. And so I keep noticing like it's having a tough time breaking out of this range. And then even like we still have this resistance up here against these previous highs. So it seems like this 4 trillion market cap is quite heavy. We are starting to get bearish divs on the MACD. We're getting closer and closer to overbought conditions. So I feel like we're getting really close to, some kind of sell-off here. Obviously not what people want to hear, but like, that rally that we saw that was it. That was like the longs you were trying to hunt for. And now at this point, it's quite late, in my opinion. But, opinions are worthless at the end of the day in this game.
But don't you think now when the Fed cut the rates, we'll see more money go into the system, and because of that, risk assets will basically grow and grow and grow?
Well, the Feds also talked about they're still offloading their positions and not actually, buying anything and stuff. So, like, borrowing money is cheaper, yes. But, you look at the prices of things are already up so much. Like, it's kind of weird. Because, like, normally you want to cut the rates when, like, everything is crashing, not when everything's pumping. So it's kind of an interesting scenario here. I think the effects, you're not going to notice it for this first couple of weeks, maybe even the month. And then it's like the following months that kind of starts, things picking up. But I think right now it's mostly kind of like the sell the news event, it feels like. Just because like we didn't really pop off on the news. And then as you can see, the last 2 days, the markets have been quite stale. Maybe it's also because it's the quadruple witching today. So everybody's just kind of like cautious and not really loading heavily. But, I guess we'll really know next week how the market really feels. So just by going off the charts, like I said, like we don't have like defined structure that's pointing to sell off yet. But there are signs that like, look, things are slowly getting into this like area of, interest of like people that want to short and stuff like that. So, and then even like, so like looking at the alt index, right? Like Bitcoin dominance starting to perk back up. We might actually see Bitcoin dominance put in a W here if it breaks above that high there. And, if you get a dominance breakout in Bitcoin, that means like these are all going to start crashing. And then, if that happens, then, all markets are pretty much cooked. Stablecoin dominance trying to put in a little W potentially here as well. We have to break these necklines essentially. But like these are all the different signs that I'm seeing that like, okay, maybe this market isn't as strong as everybody keeps wanting it to be. And so because of that, I'm being quite cautious. I did buy some shit yesterday, some swing trades again, but I don't feel very confident in them right now. Do feel like things are looking slightly bad, but if the U.S. market opens pretty strong today and we recover, then obviously, we can revise. But yeah, right now it's looking just a little bit heavy. You know, you get the exceptional coins that are kind of breaking out, but for the most, things are just kind of sideways again. We're going up, we're selling off, we're coming back, and now we're back to selling. So a lot of back and forth is kind of what I'm seeing here right now. Yeah, there's a few that are coming, you know, breaking out. Like, you know, like you mentioned, AVAX. So I'm pretty happy with how AVAX is doing. We're getting closer and closer to our double.
Better chain was also good.
Yeah, we picked up a little extra bear chain yesterday, so that was kind of nice. But you can see, like, we're getting overbought. You know, signs of like getting closer to the end of the moves than like the beginning of the move. You know, picked up that nice little consolidation, little W within that 38.2 area. Nice little breakout. Hopefully that holds. And then we still have our original position, just sitting and waiting, waiting to see whether we'll get that or not. LDO is another one that I liked. Same idea, you know, these nice little double bottoms within that 38.2 area. You know, it's kind of just chilling today, but I still think the trade is valid, and the risk window is small, only like 14% there. And then I still have my original position there, which is a free double already. So just wanted to accumulate a little extra, see if we can get this like a harmonic setup going here. And this is a kind of a fun harmonic setup if you can get it right. If you looked at the BNB, that's pretty much what this setup was this little harmonic AB equals CD. So, you know, anybody that did take that trade, congrats, decent little profits there. Like 14, 15% there. If you're leverage trading, probably could squeeze a little extra. But, you know, I think it's hard to justify any longs on a lot of these names here right now. You know, we did have a lot of these old swing trades that pretty much completed. And now we're just have to wait and see newer setups, new things to you know, form and shit. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of about it. I don't really have many picks at the moment, and I do think things are just kind of ranging for now, while Bitcoin and ETH tries to figure out whether we want to dump or, you know, come back up to life. So
I mean, token is coming. The biggest events are coming. We know what happens usually on those events. Big dumps.
Yeah, I'd rather just be kind of like cash heavy while I'm at these conferences. Just it's always a bitch trying to like manage your positions while you're doing these events. So, you know, I'm pretty comfortable with like sitting in cash, to be honest. Still have like a bunch of plays in action, but I think closer to this weekend, I might start trimming some stuff. If like Bitcoin ETH starts crashing here, then probably wise to, for me at least on my side. But yeah, let's see. You know,
More waiting, just what everybody loves.
yeah, I mean, it's the way the game goes. You know, like I always say, there's always like a 2-3 day like sweet spot of a window of buying, and then the rest of the year you're just like waiting and chilling. But October, November have always been my favorite months to buy. It's been my favorite months to look for bottoms. But that also means like things have to sell off coming into these months. So be prepared for that.
All right. Well, before we hop into some stories, I wanted to take a look at this. Massive milestone for Acquire.Fi, 300 listings on the platform. And that grew very quickly. I think when I started back in December, so 9 months ago, basically, we had just hit 200. So essentially 50% growth in 9 months on the platform. That's massive. Shout out to the whole team at Acquire.Fi making it happen. Jan, as a founder, that's got to be a pretty proud moment. Pretty exciting to see that tick over that milestone there. I mean, pretty quick. 500 and 1,000 are right around the corner.
Bro, I'm crying here.
Yeah, that's amazing. I remember just watching you guys launch in day one. Very
Yeah.
impressive.
No, I'm very proud of the team. Obviously, we had a good run with you guys joining aboard. Just want to say, everyone, thank you for supporting us, and hopefully we can cross 500 soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, big things coming down the road. Network effect.
I just want to say, the more we grow, the more the network effect will be. And the vision was always like, hey, then if you guys are a builder or if you are building something in crypto, there needs to be a way of exiting, right? Like we all need to be able to either cross paths and exit or do some amazing technologies and be part of a journey and be able to basically give it to the ecosystem and let it run still. And I think Acquire.Fi is doing that really well. And hopefully, during these next weeks or months, we can announce some more deals that are happening. And yeah, we have a very bright future.
Yeah, I think outside of the listings itself, even seeing a more bullish metric is the number of like serious conversations that are going on. I think we are probably going to set a record this year for certainly LOIs issued and very likely for number of both number and dollar wise in terms of acquisitions that we've been supporting. So growing quick, excited to be a part of the team. That's going to be a fun end of this year. And I think next year is going to be even better.
100%.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
OTC book's growing pretty fast too.
Yeah.
Old Andrew over there rocking and rolling on with some pretty sick OTC and secondary deals. I know that's something that has been insanely hot this year here. A lot of great deals out there. I know some VCs and funds are pulling back a little bit as they see kind of towards the end of the cycle. But there's still a lot of cash being deployed into OTC and secondaries at the moment. So if that's something you guys are interested in, definitely look us up. 1,000 ways to make money in this industry, and OTC is a very popular one at the moment.
Yeah, hot market. Very, very hot.
Well, obviously, biggest story since we left you guys in the lurch on Tuesday, FOMC. What was the speech about? We talked a bit about it, but this is a pretty good summary from Satoshi Stacker. Shout out Satoshi Stacker, great market analyst and TA guy. Check him out. But basically, risks of the labor market have risen and now outweigh inflation risks, making the labor market is no longer solid. Hence, they're cutting the rates. Got the 25 basis point cut, which is what everybody expected, and looking for 2 more 25 base cuts this year. It was a start and a risk management cut. Future decisions are still data dependent. Like we said, they didn't really give us a whole lot to go off of. Hence, the market's kind of not really doing much, not sure which way to go. So nothing too crazy. They're expecting inflation rate to return to 2% by 2028. So again, typical Jay Powell meeting comes out, bookends everything he says, doesn't really give us a whole lot of information to go off of, but still good to see him cut and give a at least slightly dovish message. So markets haven't tanked, but still gonna have to wait for more answers, for some more numbers to come out, for the Fed to start, stop cutting things on their balance sheet and start adding to their balance sheet before I think we see any sort of real positive momentum in the markets based on what we saw yesterday, or at least based on the rate cuts there. One thing that is a bit shocking that has come out of this, and maybe also is kind of pointing to the markets not being as strong as expected. Typically, when you cut rates, you'd expect Treasury notes to go down. They've actually gone up since the rate cut was issued there. Definitely something for concern. I don't know if you guys saw this story or not, or if it kind of paints into the bigger picture for you guys.
No, I haven't seen that.
Now, likely nothing's going to happen in the short term about this. We'll probably have to see what they do at the next meeting, and if they address this in the next meeting before any sort of major economic impacts or people speculating too much either way. But definitely something to keep an eye on as going forward here.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Outside of the FOMC, this is probably one of the biggest stories to break here today. Joseph Lubin confirming MetaMask token is coming soon. Just what we needed, a MetaMask token. As if MetaMask not making enough money yet. I don't know what are the benefits of a potential MetaMask token? Why, other than Joseph Lubin making himself a lot more money?
Yeah, cash out. I mean, it's the same reason why Base is all of a sudden being like, yeah, we'll do a token.
I mean, maybe they're trying to take the incentivization route to, Phantom's been eating in on their market share. Some of these other wallets have as well. Maybe this is a way to reward people that are using their wallet over other wallets. I don't know.
I doubt the airdrop's going to be any good.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the main thing here is Consensus will also try to do an IPO probably soon. And this is part of the bigger plan. I think it's a good thing, to be honest. But let's see. Obviously, do we need more tokens? That's the question.
Yeah, definitely will drive hype around their IPO. Well, we've mentioned Solana earlier. Solana continuing to draw attention. We did look at the story last week. Forward Industries acquiring 6.8 million Solana, establishing their DAT over there. Solana, one of the more popular ones targeted for ETFs, for DATs. And this kind of telling why. $193 million in Solana app revenue just in the month of August alone. Big winners are Axiom and Pump.Fun, both bringing in over $40 million each in the month of August. Phantom, the top wallet there, number 3. Jupiter, the top exchange on there, bringing in 15.9. So the battle, Pump Fun is going to continue. It's going to be interesting to see how their revenue grows as they start deploying the $1 billion that they have. Or is it $2 billion sitting in the bank there? Most likely, we'd probably see a perp dex out of them and their own L1. What does that do to Solana when all of that revenue moves off Solana and onto the Pump Fund network? That's going to be interesting to see. How there's a lot of Solana haters out there, and there's a lot of people that are massively in love with Solana. Obviously, they're getting interest for ETFs and DATs, being one of the biggest, speed networks out there. But when their top earners start their own network and take all their users' chain activity and revenues off, what does the long-term outlook like for Solana?
I'm sure there'll be another competitor that takes his place.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing further fractionalization of the already very fractionalized network. We have 1 million L1s already.
We need more.
We need more. Yeah.
We definitely need.
Are we moving? Do you think we're moving into a future where the idea of like general purpose networks, Solanas, Ethereums, etc., are not obsolete, but are certainly less needed, and we start to see the emergence of these purpose-built, niche down networks like a Hyperliquid?
I think everything is going chain agnostic. Like even the things that we are selling at the moment, some are chain agnostic, and they're getting a lot of bids.
Well, are you bullish long term on Solana? What are we giving? This is a bull call or a bear call?
I mean, to be honest, I was quite bearish on them, but like all the DATs that are happening at the moment and Galaxy getting a lot of bids on their locked Solana, yeah, I am pretty bullish. I think we're still going to be going up. Obviously, there's still the fact that it's very inflated. Like if you look at the all-time high compared to last year, like which was 300 or whatever, getting there is going to be very tough. Getting to a new all-time high, it's going to be very tough with the inflation.
You need to take a lot of money to move those funds, but definitely some believers out there that Solana will do just that. A lot of people calling for $1,000 Solana by the end of the year. I think that's at least or not the end of the year, within the end of the cycle. That's at least somewhat rational. I could definitely see that happen if we get a good parabolic run at the end here. These guys, on the other hand, the XRP fanboys, with their calls for $2,500 to $10,000 XRP, they are what we call retarded. But I mean, they obviously got, I mean, the big accounts like Altcoin Daily posting this stuff. Obviously, they're getting paid to, but man, this is your monthly reminder. If you are a newbie coming into crypto and you see claims like this, these people are retarded. It's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately.
So be careful. Be careful who you trust for your sources of media, especially in this industry. If you need some hopium, need some bull firepower. This chart's been the GMI Bitcoin cycle top finder. We are a long ways from that red line right now. Could have a lot more room to grow there. And as far as we still haven't had any of the top 30 cycle top indicators pop off yet. So definitely still a long term, or again, what are we considering long term? Is 6 months long term, or is that medium term bullish?
I don't know. I think it's like medium term, 6 months.
Yeah,
Long
definitely
term
still
would be
medium
like
term bullish.
multi-years.
Yeah, we haven't had any of this yet going on, so I think we're all right. We haven't had we haven't had NFT rocks going for multiple $1 million yet. I think we got some time.
We'll get them. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, where's our CZ post? Yeah, we got CZ coming back in. I don't think CZ's gonna, put his hat back in the ring if he thinks the bull market's over. I don't think he'd be making moves if he believed the cycle was coming to an end.
Bro, I really think this Aster came out of like nowhere, and now he's really attacking.
Well, they got money to deploy, so
yeah, for sure. But like, if you think of how fast Hyperliquid has taken the market, like, I think this is the right answer. Like, what else can CC do?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that is a great way to fuel this whatever kind of blow off top we get at the end of the market. If you've got Brian Armstrong and Base Network, and you've got CZ on Binance, and you got the folks at Avalanche, you've got a Pump Fund, all these big ecosystem infrastructure L1 players, all with fat stacks of cash ready to go to war. We all could be the benefit factors of that war. So I am all for it. These industry titans want to go out with their multi-billion-dollar bags of cash and start fighting it out. Who can pump more projects on chain? I think we all will be the winners of that one. So I am all for it.
But yeah, hey, good for BNB people. $500,000.
Absolutely. We mentioned Pump Fund a couple times here. Pump really getting in the news here, seeing some attention and revenue spikes with their new streaming. They've reworked how the streaming is profitable, or how it makes money. You now have people more or less kind of, I think they're betting on the streams that are going to get more popular, and they have like stream tokens that go up and down while people are live. Alex Becker, notably, I think it was late last week or early this week, went on and broke the record in an hour stream. I think he generated like $300,000 in an hour on the streaming fees there. So new revenue unlocked for potential streamers. We saw what happened last time with the streams. Now they were trying to pump the tokens that they launched on there. These work a little bit differently. I don't think it's as susceptible to rug pulls or mass extraction as before, but I guess the Pump Fund saga continues to unfold.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
so
maybe
we'll have to get the Acquire.Fi streaming going on Pump Fund here.
But to be honest, like I think streaming is a little bit dead at the moment. Like I used to watch a lot of gaming streams, but nowadays if you go to Twitch or any other let's say platforms where you can watch streams, they're all live streams or like just chatting.
Yeah.
Like there's no gaming anymore. It's like just real life streaming, nothing else. But
Right,
obviously,
right.
like earning this much, I think someone made a calculation that you get $300 per stream viewer at the moment on Pump.fun, and obviously that's not very commercial, right? Like it's not sustainable.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a new potential avenue for them. I don't think they have that gamers streaming on there yet. I think it's more, typical meme coin shit streams, but that, who knows? Maybe that's the direction they're going to take it. But I'd imagine they're going to tie it somehow into the future perp decks and L1 that they launch. But any other stories you guys wanted to highlight here? I know we're going to be having a little bit of change of schedule next week. Next 2 weeks, actually. We've got KBW and Token. All three of us will be in attendance. I believe we're going to try and do at least one stream each week live from the conference area. We're still working on how to technically make that happen, but so it might have to be recorded. But we will be putting out some content still next week alongside these conferences. If you're going to be at the conferences and you want to catch up, chat M&A, chat OTC, look at what's we've got on our books. Let's find a time. Ping us on Telegram. We're happy to chat.
Andrew's reaction again.
Guys are so energetic today.
I know.
Such a lively stream. I'm sure everybody is just sitting on the edge of their seats right now.
Well, I'm not here to show any bullshit, man. I'm fucking Mike is so boring right now. What can I say?
Well, boring is better than blood in the streets, I suppose.
Well, if you guys are at Token and KBW and you find us, Jan's going to give you 1 Bitcoin if you could find us at one event.
Shut up.
You heard me. 1 Bitcoin. If you can find any one of us at this event and take a picture and send it to Jan, he will give you 1 Bitcoin.
Dream on, dream on.
We might have some.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have any Acquire.Fi swag to give away?
We're trying to get some swag there. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, if you guys are in Korea or in Singapore, let us know. Please come and say hello.
Yeah. Next time you see me, I'll have an Acquire.Fi hat on.
There we go.
We'll have some nice trading alpha.
All right. Well, it's probably a good spot to wrap it up here. Come up on an hour. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Give us a like, a share, a comment, and leave us some feedback. We really would appreciate that. Let us know. What do you want us to talk about? What kind of charts are you interested in seeing? How can we make this more entertaining for you guys? That's why we're here. We can talk to each other, talk to ourselves without going live. But want to know what you guys are interested in. Appreciate the comments. Also help boost the algorithm, get us more eyes on here as well. So any little bit of support is much appreciated.
See y'all's.
All right. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week from the beautiful Seoul, South Korea.
Ciao.
Later.